When Daniel was 7 years old, every Sunday morning was the same. His mother would dress him in his best clothes, a stiff collar that always felt too tight, and walk him down the cobblestone path to the village church. St. Jude's wasn't grand, but it had a quiet, ancient presence. Its stone walls seemed to hold secrets older than the village itself. Presiding over the small congregation was Father Elric. He was a kind man, everyone said so. He had a smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes, and he always kept a pocket full of sweets for the children after service. But his kindness had an edge to it, an intensity that made young Daniel's skin prickle. During catechism, while other priests taught about saints and miracles, Father Elric would lean in close, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. He wouldn't talk about the miracles of bread and wine. Instead, he told the children strange, unsettling stories. He spoke of angels that didn't just fall from grace but were pushed, their wings torn and their halos shattered. He described ancient prayers, words so powerful and forbidden that speaking them aloud could unravel the very fabric of reality. He'd say, "Some doors are meant to stay closed, my children, and some names are best forgotten." The other children would giggle, thinking them just spooky tales. But Daniel listened. He saw the flicker in the priest's eyes that wasn't just passion, but something akin to hunger. Years passed. Daniel grew up and moved away, the village and its peculiar priest fading into a collection of hazy memories. He built a new life in the city, one of concrete and steel, far from the whispers of forgotten prayers. Then the call came. His parents had passed away in a quiet, sudden accident. He returned to the village, not as a boy, but as an orphan, tasked with settling their affairs. The place was much as he remembered, but time had not been kind to St. Jude's. The church now stood in ruins, a skeleton against the skyline. The roof was half collapsed, letting the rain and sky pour in. The stained glass windows were shattered, like 1,000 broken jewels scattered on the floor. It was a place of decay, utterly abandoned. Yet, something was wrong. Every night at the stroke of midnight, Daniel would hear it. The faint, lonely toll of a church bell. He'd sit up in his parents' old bed, the sound echoing in his ears, clear as day. He asked the neighbors, the old baker, the woman who ran the post office. They all looked at him with pity. "The bell hasn't rung in 20 years, son," they'd say. "Not since the church was condemned." But Daniel heard it. It was a summons, a ghost of a sound meant only for him. He tried to ignore it, telling himself it was just grief playing tricks on his mind. But the bell was persistent, a nightly reminder of a past he had tried so hard to bury. After a week of sleepless nights, driven by a mix of dread and morbid curiosity, he couldn't take it anymore. One moonless evening, he walked the familiar path back to St. Jude's. The air was cold, heavy with the smell of damp earth and decay. Pushing open the massive, groaning doors, he stepped inside. Moonlight streamed through the broken roof, painting eerie patterns on the debris-strewn floor. And there, in the back corner, shrouded in shadow, was the confessional booth. Its wooden frame was still intact, the velvet curtain tattered and black with age. A wave of nostalgia, cold and unwelcome, washed over him. He remembered sitting in that very booth as a child, his small voice trembling as he confessed to stealing a cookie. Almost on autopilot, with a wry, uneasy smile playing on his lips, Daniel slid the curtain aside and sat down on the hard wooden bench. The air inside was thick, suffocating. He was just about to get up, to laugh at his own foolishness, when a voice slithered from the other side of the screen. "You're late for confession, my child." It was a whisper, dry as dust, but instantly recognizable. It was Father Elric's voice, unchanged, not a day older. A cold dread, far colder than the night air, seized Daniel. He lunged for the door, but it slammed shut, the lock clicking into place with a sound of finality. The single votive candle flickering nearby dimmed, plunging the booth into near-total darkness. Then a shape began to press against the dividing screen. It was a hand, a skeletal, decayed thing, its skin stretched like parchment over bone. It held a rosary, but the beads weren't made of wood or stone. They glowed with a malevolent internal heat, like lumps of burning coal. The heat radiating from it was intense, scorching the air. Daniel was frozen, his breath caught in his throat, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. The voice whispered again, closer this time, right against the screen. "Let us begin. There are so many forgotten prayers we need to say aloud." At that exact moment, outside the ruined church, the bell of St. Jude's began to toll, loudly, frantically, and this time, every single person in the village heard it. They awoke from their beds, their faces pale with a terror they couldn't name, as the confession that never ended finally began. Thanks for watching this chilling tale. If you enjoy stories that linger in the shadows of your mind, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We've got plenty more darkness to explore together. See you next time.